What's up, guys? Eric Oakley and Chris Clemens are bringing you back DD Media coverage of the Dynamic Disc Glass Blowout Open presented by Latitude 64. We have the final round. It's another windy day similar to round two, so we'll see what our players can do. You ready, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Let's go, dude. Where are we going?
Going to Country Club in Emporia, Kansas. We got Nate Sexton on the card at 9 under, Adam Hammis at 8 under, Johnny McCray at 7 under, and Austin Hannum was at 6 under.
So hole one, as you guys have seen, if you watched any of the other coverage, is a big time hole. 1,093 feet, par 5. This thing can bite you quick if you're not smart, but is a pretty routine hole if you just play it for that easy birdie. This hole was one of the few holes that averaged under par all weekend, so we'll see how our players can manage that.
We got Nate with his classic Jomez Pro music. It's kind of putting me to sleep.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Ooh.
That was a good stick. He's just in that bottom of the hill. His second shot, all it needs to really do is just crest the hill on the next shot to have an opportunity for his birdie. This is a great shot from him.
Yeah, I think that's his force. He's loving that disc. I've played with him a lot over the last month or so, and he's playing really well.
Mm-hmm. Adam is definitely a great player to watch, and you guys should be keeping an eye out for him. He has all the skills to be a top player. He's just working on his mental game, and I think getting in situations like this will only help him.
For sure. There's a nice low driving shot by Johnny. I'm pretty sure we had a huge tailwind on this hole in the last day, which is
good.
It's fun. I feel like people can open up a little bit.
Absolutely. That is a crush from Austin.
Yeah, it's nice because everybody who's playing today made the cut, and so they're getting paid. So some people might go a little bit more at stuff that they wouldn't the first couple days.
Absolutely. And that's all Nate needs to do. That'll probably set up something like a Sexton Firebird approach if he's feeling it. I would imagine that's another shield from Johnny. Comfortably the best shield thrower in the world.
Yeah.
I don't think that's...
Easily.
Yeah, there is no question. Austin has actually become one of the guys I like to get a lot of practice rounds with. Like him and Kat are awesome. Ooh. What a reaction.
That's a good kick right there.
Take that when you can, man. I think Adam is conceding.
He could just be laying up.
Yeah,
he is.
Putting himself in a good spot to be able to throw a hyzer to the bucket.
Yeah, I think that was a drone.
Oh, was that Nate Sexton throwing a Sexton Firebird? Did I call that?
This is a tough shot. I had a shot similar to this, I think, the third round, and you really have to do it like that.
He plays the ground well.
Yeah.
Because if you try and air it there, you can find some serious trouble. But if you can trust that the ground is going to catch you, you're going to be in good shape. It'll be a difficult putt for Adam there, but should be able to clean up his par if he doesn't feel confident running that putt. And let's get you guys to understand. This wind was very similar to round two. It is 20 mile an hour sustained.
Yeah.
With gusts probably into the 40s. It
was pretty bad.
What a hit, Johnny.
As we say that, then the flag doesn't move.
Yeah. I promise it was windy.
Yeah, it was something.
What is this round? Is this day one?
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? It was gusty today.
Mm-hmm.
We got a hole 2 here, par 4, 731 feet. This hole's playing tougher than it did last year, because the angle's different from the tee box. So I think throwing a nice solid drive for righties, maybe a turnover, or you can go kind of a flex shot through the trees, and or you can go big forehand like Nate's gonna do here.
So this was a
headwind.
Yeah, headwind left to right. So Nate, you can hear that he's not happy with that shot. But if he puts it with too much hyzer, this is what happens. You can get lifted and go OB the opposite side, like Adam just did, and he corrected off of Nate's line. So if you flip it, you're dead. If you hyzer too much, you're dead. So it's like, hey, throw it perfect.
Johnny knows how to play the wind. I growing up, in Missouri, in Kansas, and playing in these winds a lot, you have to throw flat and really overstable discs. If you hyzer at all, or even put Annie on stuff, like, it's just not gonna work.
Yeah. And hole 2 is playing as almost a full stroke over par today, so it was definitely difficult. This tall grass has crept in, and come on, get in.
I tried.
And that's where that tall grass is creeping in, pulling that OB line even tighter. So these shots are so difficult to navigate because, like you said, if the angle's off slightly, you're just getting punished.
Yeah, and so you see Adam here. He's trying to keep the disc flatter, but once it starts hyzering, that wind is going to take it and push it. And that was a good shot.
Oh, yeah.
But it's tough on the second shot because you're throwing uphill. So, the bottom side of the disc, the wind's going to get under it and do some funny things to it. So you see what Nate's trying to do. He's trying to throw it really low under the wind, which is a good play, but it's so tough to do. And he's throwing that one really low, and watch what the wind will do to it. It's a good shot.
You'll see a lot of that today. Oh, my Lord.
Wow. Did you throw that upside down?
I
don't think so. I don't think it'd float like that if it was upside down.
Totally.
I tried an upside down putt on this in this round, and it didn't work out too well.
I kind of left my putters in the bag almost all day. It was
probably
just
smart.
justice putts.
Yeah.
Like if I had a driver next to the basket, putt that. It was one of those weird days where putting was a factor, but it was a different style of putting.
Yeah, for sure.
Hole 3 being a downhill par 3, playing very, very difficult, especially into this crosswind, but pretty predominant headwinds. That cross is just going to make you question whether you should throw it with hyzer, flat, force it over, go the hyzer route, but might not come back in bounds. So our players are going to have to navigate this very well. Johnny, if that crests a little bit more, he'll have a difficult approach, but he's definitely has the ability. Adam trusting that sidearm. He just needs that knot to lift. And he's in. Nate looking to make a correction off of hole 2. I think he's disking up.
Yeah, that's trouble if it doesn't flip. Because once that wind gets under it, because it's kind of a left to right headwind, it'll just blow it so far right.
Yeah.
This is a really, really tough hole, and it seems like the wind is always the same on this hole. It's like a left to right headwind.
Wow.
I
That
feel
is
like
a fantastic shot
yeah.
from Austin.
Like that's one of the better plays, is taking something really overstable for a righty backhand and just throwing it kind of straight at the bucket.
Mm-hmm. I remember we played this hole with a similar wind in a practice round with Eric that we did on for the DD channel, and we were throwing overstable discs up the gut flat, and they were so far to the right.
Yeah.
No matter what you did, they were just getting crushed. The Kansas wind is a real factor.
And the weird thing I found on this green as well is that the wind kind of dies down here.
This little valley.
We didn't have a whole lot of crazy winds that you might have seen on the last hole on hole 2, because it's kind of at the top of a hill. But this green, especially if you don't get off the tee, it's pretty easy to get a bogey on this hole.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty tough.
Those two Guardians play very, very, very well. So hole 4, we got another par 3. This is just trust your skills and throw the disc nice and stable, and put yourself with an opportunity. I feel like there is going to be very little twos on this hole on the day because of how crazy this wind is. It did not allow the disc to get pushed forward, which is exactly what you need. Johnny's living
Johnny
right.
yelling there.
Yes.
Yeah. So Adam. I'm not sure. Man, I want to say that's a Nuko-esque, because I don't know if a force will fly like that.
And he caught early, and he has an opportunity to save par, which is all you're looking for.
Yeah, honestly, when the wind's up, I've kind of conceded on this hole and just like, well, just throw it down there and get a 3.
Absolutely.
Wow, this looks like a really good shot. It's about as good as you can do it.
Yep. I mean, all our players have the power to get there, but it's just so difficult in this wind. I mean, Austin hammered that, and he's still short.
Yep.
That'll play.
Oh, no.
Johnny picking a spot to be aggressive, trusting in his ability to make the comeback. Well done, man.
Well, skipping a step.
Well, let's be real. I think he turns like 95 this year.
Yeah.
He's very old, but the most wise human, and he's still so good.
Those further than
Realistically,
half
he's
our
in his
field.
40s, and he's playing golf at, better than most of the 20-somethings.
Mm-hmm. Got hole 5 here, a par 4, 666 feet. This is it's a pretty tough par 4. You know, the drive, the landing zone, it's fairly large. It's not huge though, so if you make a mistake, you're gonna pay for it. And then the second shot, it's pretty tight up by the basket, so you got to control your spin. On this day, I think we had a right to left tailwind, so you might see some forehands trying to combat that wind a little bit, or just some smash backhands and try to carry it way up there.
Yeah, if you hit this one right with this type of wind, I saw players getting way up into the trees.
Yeah,
And
kind of like Austin's doing right here.
getting come on, good. No way.
That looked like it was in bounds to me.
Absolutely, it looked like he was in the green. Like on that line, there actually are little, like, what we call them, tufts of grass.
Tufts.
If I don't know,
Tufts.
Is that the word?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Tufts of grass that are like that you can slide into and not move.
Yeah. They'll just grab you.
Yeah, and they just block you. And I think that's what happened to Austin. But he should have a pretty easy little sidearm hyzer to the basket. But in this wind, nothing really feels that easy.
So this shot is pretty tough. Adam played that perfectly. Because you have it's kind of a right to left tail. So if you get that disc under there, the wind could just carry it way left.
All the way.
This shot I feel is a little more conservative.
Keeping it in bounds the majority of the flight.
Yeah, and letting the wind kind of
Slam it.
fight it down, so you're not going to get away. And that's a good play. That's how I would have played it too.
Oh,
Ooh.
stop. Okay.
Yeah, the screen is very fast. That's not going to come back. I've had experience over on that fairway, and it just never...
Austin opting to just rethrow.
That almost blew out
Lord.
too. The disc just kind of gets sucked over to that fairway, I feel like. And if you're ever skipping there, it just doesn't come back.
Especially on a day like this with the wind fighting against the skip.
Do it.
What?
That's a pretty putt. That was sweet.
I'm pretty sure Johnny's played in winds like this thousands of times.
Oh yeah, this is nothing for him.
Do you guys want me to talk about how old Johnny is? Let us know in the comments. I'll keep doing it.
He's wise.
He's incredibly wise, and if you haven't had the pleasure of meeting him or playing with him, he's got a wealth of knowledge, and he's incredibly good at controlling his discs, which is already being put on display. So hole 6, uphill par 3, ripping tailwind on this one. Now the OB on the backside really comes into play in this wind. If you decide to throw to the basket, you're probably bouncing at the back. So in most cases, this is better to hit short, check up, and get that push from the wind to give you that.
Yeah.
And that leaves you also with a tailwind putt.
Yeah, and it's a little scary too, because if your disc gets smashed down, you could hit that bunker.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what happens
exactly
as well.
What I'm talking about.
And so I feel like the tailwind makes this hole pretty tough.
It really does.
Because you're throwing uphill, and you would think usually, oh, I love tailwinds, but for this hole, it's not easy.
No.
That's about as perfect as you can do it, and he still has a 20-foot headwind putt. That's not easy.
Not at all. And that looked like something a little bit slower from Austin, which was probably the right play, giving himself a chance, not bringing the OB into play. Just getting himself up there. That was a good attempt from Adam. Yeah,
There
man.
it is. Yeah, this green's pretty windy, if I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
That's a way to jam it, bud.
God. There it is. Yeah, the key to playing well on a day like today is just staying positive.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a mental battle than it is a physical battle.
And it becomes really difficult because sometimes it feels like all science and reason gets thrown out the window when you're throwing some of these shots. You're doing everything you're supposed to, and the reaction is usually, it can be very brutal, and to stay positive is incredibly difficult. Hole 7, we have adjusted this tee pad, and is a tight tunnel shot off the box. You can play the safer left side if you want to, but if you have the confidence to throw up this gut, you can get way up there because it's all the way downhill. And that's the flip you want. This is
really
perfect. Good. Johnny McCray is so good at this.
I feel like this tee shot's kind of right up his alley. Like he doesn't think about it twice. He's just like, yep, I have a distant shot for that. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. He's in bounds.
Yeah, that's a good play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the wind's kind of right to left headwind here. So, for the forehands, it's going to help a little bit more.
Don't hit it. Yeah.
I think that's in.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, yeah. That's way up there. Wow.
Hit it again.
I don't know.
He's green.
Wow.
Let's go, dude.
He went above that branch. Man.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the headwind. It can just lift your disc right out of your hand.
Oh, and he gets chopped down. But he's made a lot of forward progress, which is exactly what you're hoping for. From back there in this wind, I don't think three's in play.
Yeah. You're just trying to get as far up the fairway as you can and trying to make your par as easy as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to be able to put the disc, within 5 feet, really, on a day like today. You don't want to have a lot of 10 or 15 footers. It's good. It's still a little tester, though.
Mm-hmm. But a par on this hole is absolutely good. So just getting out of here. Let's move on to hole 8. And That's all our players are trying to do.
Yeah, I think once you get on the green of this hole, you're already kind of thinking about hole 8 and what's to come.
Drinking root beer.
That's a toughie. Actually, no, it's not. We can Dymax that. Find out more about all the things that we can put on a disc at dynamicdiscs.com/Dymax.
Thanks, Bobby, for that sweet commercial talking about Dymaxes. You guys should check out dynamicdisc.com if you guys are looking to get something like that done. They're sweet. Hole 8 is, well, for me, it feels virtually impossible, but it is such a good hole that challenges us as players. You're having to throw a crazy difficult tee shot, followed by consecutive good shots to get your birdie. Talking, put it in play, and then throw just perfect to this green that also has a lot of OB near it.
Yeah, I think pretty much every shot is dangerous. But I think as time goes on, the players are starting to figure it out, and I think they're throwing slower discs off the tee.
Yeah,
They're going for placement, and they're learning kind of that par is good.
Absolutely.
And if you have the ability to maybe go for a birdie, then you can do that.
And this wind just held on to Austin's disc because he crushed that. That tree is very far.
Yeah, that's close to 500 feet, I bet.
Oh, absolutely. Slightly downhill, but that was, into a ripping headwind. 500 feet is pretty rad.
And Adam's been throwing this all day. Super overstable disc.
Get in for him.
That's perfect.
That's a great play.
That's an aggressive play.
And when this wind starts to pick up and starts to really happen, you have to pick your spots a lot of the time where you might not want to throw. What was that bounce? That was crazy.
I feel like the trouble here that I can see is like Austin went OB right early. Johnny's just hollering out there today. He's having fun.
Yeah,
I love it. Austin goes OB early, and then he has to throw a weird, awkward angle on his second shot. And I see a lot of people go OB again. I saw it on my card, and I've seen it on coverage. And so I think that, getting your tee shot in bounds will definitely help take the huge scores out of play.
Totally.
Adam going big here.
That's a great tree hit. He's going to put himself in bounds with a relatively routine look at a birdie, but pretty comfortably a par if he's doing everything he should.
Yeah. And you see wow, Johnny gets that fortunate kick. Sit down.
Good
Ooh.
reverse check for Nate.
Nate finally got some love. And it's interesting too, because I feel like this flag and this green, it wasn't really that windy. I think it is in the fairway, but maybe those trees block the flag. I'm not sure.
I think so.
Ooh,
floats on Adam just a little bit in that
I think
wind.
it's a ringer.
He's going to have a little tester on the comeback.
That was a good run.
He knows he wants that one. That would have been a great birdie to get in this wind. Picking up some serious strokes if you get a birdie on this one today. Or any day, actually. Let's be real. This hole plays hard. Calm,
there were only
windy.
3 birdies on the day, being Paul Macbeth, Mr. Loose Cannon, AJ Risley, and Logan Bowers.
I really enjoy Logan Bowers. He's out of the Tennessee area. He's an incredible golfer. If you guys get a chance to play with him, check him out. He's super good. Hole 9. This was our most difficult hole on the day. It was very, very tough. Tunnel shot, lots of OB. I'm pretty sure there were a lot of players who had to proceed to the drop zone. And it's just demanding. And when the wind picks up, you're having to hit this tunnel, and you can't feel the wind out into the fairway. So you're going to throw with what you can trust, but man, it can leak left, it can leak right, you can come up early. There are so many things.
Perfectly done right there. Yeah, I think it was kind of hard to tell, to feel the wind, but we just knew that it was a headwind. That's the way that the wind had been blowing all day, so you kind of just have to trust it and plan for it.
This is so good. Once you get
perfect.
that little bit of turn and it's not turning.
Yeah, it's not dumping over.
Maybe we'll call it drifting, right?
Yeah. Yep.
On that backhand, that's when you're
This
winning.
could be trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Off the pole.
that would have been cool.
Yeah. I know there was we may have talked about it before. There's a lot of discussion of potentially making that area inbounds. Because Austin is handcuffed there.
Yeah.
If he was to have to throw from there, but instead he gets to come here and more than likely getting the same score, but at least having a hole where we have to scramble. Having to throw some trick shots, and I think it can punish people even more for throwing into the woods.
Yeah, it's. I think it has a lot of potential because there's a lot of woods over there.
Oh yeah.
So you can really make it a memorable hole.
And that's all you really can do.
Yeah, he was kind of. He could have gone, big backhand maybe, but that's way risky, especially in this wind. That thing's just going straight.
Just sit down for him. That's
It was
fine.
tough because it was a headwind, so you didn't.
Probably
That wind
expecting
could just
some
get a hold
turn.
of it. Yeah.
But then the moment you expect turn, it doesn't. It's just, again, that's why I think physics and science and reasoning kind of go out the window when it has this wind. You just have to kind of take that you can only control the first couple inches out of your hand and, roll with the punches, as you said. Stay positive.
Yeah. And this is a pretty tough stretch of golf, and so if you can get through this, we have birdie holes coming up.
Absolutely.
And then the end is 16, 17, 18. That's another tough stretch. So you kind of want to get some birdies early on the front and the back nine, because you know that you're probably going to get a bogey or two coming down the stretch.
Absolutely. So we are through 9 holes. Sexton at 8 under, Hannum at 8, McCray killing it right now at 10 under, and Austin battling the wind at 2 under. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We appreciate you. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you guys get notifications every time DD posts media content. You guys will not be disappointed. See you guys on the back nine.